You ready for today's box of fiction? There's a lot of it, so we're just going to go through it quickly. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, K-R-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy stuff going on here. And like I said, when I get these boxes, I have no idea what's in them till I go through them with you. So sometimes I get embarrassed. Sometimes there's something I shouldn't be saying or something. These boxes are filled with all kinds of stuff, and I have no idea what's in them till I go through them with you. And then they go on to different charities after I do the videos. But I love the unboxing. I love not knowing what's in them. I love the surprise. Other people do unboxing videos, and it's stuff they've ordered, or someone sent them as a gift, so they have a relatively good idea what's in the box. I have zero knowledge of what's in these boxes before I unbox them. So let's get to it, shall we? Dorothy Francis Daiquiri mock murder, a Key West mystery. And who knows, they might show up on Flashback Monday, or I may decide to read one. Rafa Blue fights hurricane winds to check on a boat as Key West Daiquiri Dock Marina. Her boat is safe, but she finds her dockmaster Diego Castellano dead in the water. Rafi and her boyfriend Shrimper Kane Riley are under suspicion for Diego's murder, as are Diego's son Pablo, dock owners Brick and Trendy Vexton, and Dolly Joss, who last saw Diego alive. Among items confiscated at the death scene, Rafi sees unusual blue rope similar to the rope on Kane's shrimp boat. Could Kane be the killer? Rafi and Threnody secretly plan to discover the identity of Diego's killer. Then Threnody and Pablo are found dead on Vexton's property, and Brick holds a smoking gun. But big question remains: who drowned Diego, who strangled Threnody, and who shot Pablo, and who is next? Memories are made of this. Oh, good. That was a song. Um, The Eurythmics, I think. Sweet dreams are made of this. Sorry. Liverpool, 1954. Young Jeanette Walker often wonders what became of her mother, who disappeared without a trace during a wartime bombing raid 13 years before. Was she killed outright, her body never recovered, or did she run off with another man, as Jeanette's great aunt Ethel insists? Since Grace Walker vanished, Aunt Ethel has ruled the household with a rod of iron, imposing a strict curfew on her teenage niece and appropriating most of her meager wages. But when Jeanette embarks on a dual mission, first to find out what really happened to her mother back in 1941, and secondly to track down the handsome stranger who came to her rescue during a bust-up in a local chippy, but left without revealing his name, little is she prepared for the hornet's nest of family secrets that stir up during her investigation. I have never heard of some of these authors. I have no idea. Margaret Fraser, The Widow's Tale. Spring 1449. Lately widow and still grieving for her husband, Christina, whatever her last name is, finds her life wretched apart by her late husband's greedy and ambitious relatives, who are determined to have control of her lands and her daughters. Kidnapped, defamed, and imprisoned in a nunnery, she must find a way to save herself before she can save her children. 2004. How Clarissa Burden Learned to Fly. Set amidst the lush pine forests and rich savannas of Florida's northern panhandle, this is the story of one woman whose existence until now has seemed fairly normal. She is 30-something, married, and goes about her daily routine as a writer. But we soon learn that ghosts, an indifferent husband, and a seemingly terminal case of writer's block are burdening Clarissa's life. She awakens on the summer solstice and, prodded by her own discontent and one goat's righteous need for truth, commences upon a 24-hour journey of self-discovery. 2010. Red Star Burning, Brian Freemantle. Britain's MI5 tolerates Charlie because he is their best field agent. What none of his colleague knows, though, is that he is married to Natalia Fedova, a colonel in the FSB, the Russian intelligence successor to the KGB. It's a secret that could land her in front of a firing squad and him in jail for life. Worst of all, their daughter would then end up in a Russian state orphanage. But a frantic call from Natalia has brought out their secret, and Charlie must lead a combined MI-15-16 mission to rescue her. You think this would... 2012. Oh, I know this guy. Hell's Gate, Stephen Fry. When 35-year-old lawyer Hunter Lee decides to turn his back on New York City rat race that has made him rich but cost him his marriage, he takes his brother's advice and sets out to build a new life in the beautiful but isolated town of Fort Mason, Montana. However, escape is hardly what he finds there. Hunter befriends Paul Brule, a fire jumper, one of the elite corps of firefighters who parachute into remote wilderness areas to put out blazes before they become infernos, and gets a terrifying first-hand look at the reality of the vast tracts of forest being reduced to ash in seconds by hundreds-foot walls of flames. Interesting. Midnight, Kevin Egan. In New York County Courthouse in Lower Manhattan has its own rules and traditions. When a judge dies, the members of the staff keep their jobs until the end of the calendar year, so that when Judge Alvin Cantor quietly expires in his chamber on December 31st, his loyal and secret clerk and secretary find themselves in a difficult situation. Their jobs will vanish at closing time unless they can conceal the judge's death until after midnight. Okay. Dorothy GARLOCK, we know her. Stay a little longer. For Rachel Watkins, the armistice has brought anything but peace. Day by day, she struggles to run her family's Minnesota boarding house, raise her defiant young niece, and keep her grief-shattered family together in the face of heartbreaking tragedy. She has no reason to trust anyone, for the most powerful man in town is using any unscrupulous means necessary to take her property. But now a shell-shocked stranger takes refuge with the Watkins family as he tries to heal and salvage what he can from his once privileged life. And as his remorseless enemy sees a devastating chance, Rachel and this mystery loner will risk everything to believe in each other. Let's see. "2010. The Care and Handling of Roses with Thorns." Should have used this for the gardening book the other day. 36-year-old Gail Garner lives a regimented life. Her job teaching biology and her struggle with kidney disease kept her toggling between high school, the hospital, and her home on a strict schedule. Only at home in her gardens does Gal come alive. Here she experiments with HULTHEMIA roses, painstakingly cross-pollinating various specimens in the hope of creating a brand new rose variation of spectacular beauty and delectable fragrance. But even her passion has a highly structured goal. Gail wants to win Queen of Show in a major competition and bring that rose to market. Then one afternoon, Gail's teenage niece Riley, the daughter of an estranged sister, unannounced arrives, and neither of them will ever be the same. Cranberry Queen, Kathleen DeMarco. Deanna Moore, a 30-something professional woman in New York City, is brooding over her irritating .com job and rumors about her ex-lover's beautiful new girlfriend when the unimaginable happens, a terrible accident that turns her life upside down. Seeking refuge from well-meaning friends, Deanna heads out of the city and ends up in Pine Barrens, a rural corner of New Jersey, an oasis of simple living and cranberries. There, in a place where nobody knows that Diana is temporarily free to take a hard look at her life. 2001. Rising star Brian Freemantle. The body of a murdered, tortured Russian has been found in Moscow, which isn't unusual in the crime-ridden city. What is different is that the corpse is on the lawn of the British embassy. Eager to prevent an international incident, London dispatches veteran MI5 agent Charlie Muffin to investigate. Charlie is an old hand who recognizes that little has changed in the post-Soviet Union, most definitely not the espionage enemy being among Russia, Britain, and America. The search for the identity of the murderer man ambushes Charlie in what might be the biggest attempted espionage coup of his career. Hunting Sweetie Rose. Dick Elstrom is back in electrifying new mystery. Here are the players. Sweetie Fairbairn, doyen of Chicago society, known for big-hearted philanthropy and magnificent soirees in a rooftop penthouse atop one of the city's premier boutique hotels. A nameless clown not known for much beyond green polka dots, orange hair, and big red nose. He went off another rooftop, this one in the city's rundown factory district, a suicide or a victim. And Delk Enstrom, known to hate not knowing, hired to investigate the death of a clown by a big man with a fat wallet and a long limousine. Can Derek ask one question? Did Sweetie Fairbairn ever exist? 2012. John Fusco, Dog Beach. I don't know. Does this qualify for a beach read? Louis Mo has spent most of his life running fast, a high-flying stuntman in Hong Kong, and now years later and is past his prime as a hired knee breaker. Louis scrapes out a living by putting fear in the hearts of LA's undesirable and Hollywood wannabes, but his fortune could change for better or worse when he meets Troy Raskin. Troy is beginning to understand that he's made a deal with the devil, an aspiring director with NYU credentials and an encyclopedia knowledge of the film. He's agreed to direct Slash, a terrible horror film for Ava, a greedy producer with sketchy investments in exchange for a rented free bachelor pad on Dog Beach in Malibu. Okay. Season of Fear, Brian Freeman. 10 years ago in Lake Wales, Florida, political fundraiser for handsome third-party gubernatorial candidate Birch Fairmont turned into a public bloodbath when a hooded assassin carried out the savage execution of the charismatic would-be politician. In total, 3 men were shot to death at the event that day, and the mysterious assassin evaporated amongst the ensuing chaos, never to be found. Blink of an Eye, William S. Cohen. In America's worst nightmare, a nuclear bomb destroys a major city. Thousands of Americans are dead, and many more will die from radiation poisoning. Threats promising more attacks flood the news. Panic has broken out in many cities. How could American intelligence have failed to detect a nuclear device? Who is responsible for the blast? Sean Falcone, National Security Advisor, is tasked with identifying and tracking down the attackers. Powerful forces within the capital point the figure at Iran, but appearances can be deceiving, and never more so than when millions of innocent people may die for a crime they did not commit. I'll let you think about that. Ooh. I can see why this was gotten rid of. 2011. We got a little issue here. Ugh. MYLA Goldberg, The False Friend. Celia and Dijon were the ringleaders of the highly competitive quintet of girls caught in an escalating circle of test, reward, and punishment that peaked that afternoon. They all walked home along a forbidden woodland road. Celia blocked out what happened, but everyone else in Jensenville assumed that Dana was abducted that day, though neither Dana nor her abductor were ever found. 20 years later, Celia and her boyfriend Huck are professionally successful, but their relationship has fallen into a gray stasis that Celia feels helpless to change. But Celia's memory of the terrible afternoon suddenly returns. She's forced to confront the part that she played in her best friend's disappearance and returns to Jensenville to confess. Oh, Charles Dickens. Hard Times. It's got a string. Hard Times is the shortest and most pointed of Charles Dickens' novels, set in Cooktown, a fictitious industrial town in north of England. It was born of the author's indignation at the soul-crushing conditions of the industrial age, and yet it avoids the stock situation and appalling weakness of such political protest, a fiction of its time. Hmm. Steve Gore, Final Target. When his friend, high-profile international lawyer Jack Bursch, is shot and severely wounded, veteran private investigator Graham Gage refuses to powerless watch him fight for his life, so he puts his investigative powers to use. Gage knows that many of his Bursch clients have been involved in dubious deals, and he could have landed himself in a killer's corsets for a multiple of reasons. Oh, we did him the other day in classics. We did him in historical classics. We did John Jakes. We didn't do this one. We did North and South. Uh, Moving from the baronial splendor of the upper crust 18th century England to untamed colonial America, the first volume in the exciting series tells of the folly and fortune of Philip Kent, the bastard son of an English duke who flees England for America and founds a glorious but tumultuous dynasty of Kents. His personal quest for freedom plunges him into a blazing battlefield confrontation with his hated half-brother and a tempestuous romance with a spirited daughter of the American Revolution. Robert Goddard, The Ends of the Earth, Volume 3. The others aren't in this box that I can tell anyway by quick look. I don't know. They might be. Um, July 1919, ex-flying ace James Max attempted to uncover the secret behind the death of his father, Sir Henry Max, murdered while serving as an advisor with the British delegation to the peace conference, has seemingly ended in failure and his own death. The trial he had uncovered leads to Japan and a mysterious prisoner held by Sir Henry Maxwell's old enemy, Count Toma. Unaware of Max's fate, the team he recruited to finish the job are already in Japan, where their paths cross with their former German spy, Fritz, now rebuilding the spy network in the service of a new, more sinister cause. There isn't. I don't see this guy anywhere else. The People of Thunder. Michael Gear and Kathleen Gear. This has got dirt or something on it. By AD 1300, the Skyhand people had crushed and enslaved the Alabama people and built their high-walled capital city, split Sky City, to dominate towns up and down the Black Warrior River. But a violent wind is brewing that may topple the city's mighty walls. Great armies are on the march, and a cunning new leader, Smoke Shield, has risen. He will lead the Skyhand to either stunning triumphs or bloody doom. Could have used that for the Native American author one. Um, 3 seconds. Rosalind Hillist? Um, in this dark and gripping novel from best-selling Swedish writing duo Rosalind and Hellstrom, Pete Hoffman is the Swedish police most valuable secretive operative. His cover is that a lieutenant inside the ruthless Polish mafia is trying to take over amphetamine distribution within Sweden's British system. With this, his most dangerous assignment, success will mean a new identity and the freedom to start a new life with a wife and young sons. Was that enough for you? Do you want more? Go tune in last week or go tune in next week. There's more boxes to come. There's a lot more boxes to come. Please check it out and please hit the like and subscribe. Most appreciative.